Here, by the way, I'm spotlighted, so you don't have to worry about your face showing up on the video. Um, there's a book by Coyote the Blind. I think it's called the something like The Art of Dreaming, and he talks about how you're actually dreaming all the time. So in the dreamscape, it's just that dreaming faculty is like disconnected from physical perception. So then the dreamscape actually manifests. But if you're aware of your thoughts, or if you're observing your thoughts throughout the day, you'll notice that there's this, like, these scenes and stories and situations are playing in your imagination. If you pay attention to it, it just doesn't usually occur, or you don't notice it because you're so physically oriented. So one of the techniques that Coyote teaches is to begin to notice this dreaming, or this imaginal wandering that is occurring, continuously during the day. And that's another phase shift technique. Like, that's another way to um, not be entirely 100% oriented towards your physical senses. In Buddhism, there's a kind of meditation that is a little bit in this area. It's called contemplation of mental formations. And how it looks is you're noticing the forethought that precedes uh, physical activities, or the exercising of intention. So I'll demonstrate it here. So let's say I'm looking at this cup right here on the table. I look at the cup, and if I'm noticing my mental pictures, my stream of mental pictures and experience, I'll notice that there's an impulse to grab the cup. And right after that impulse, there's an actual like image of me reaching for the cup. It's like it flashes really quick. And you'll notice this if you go about your day, like right before you open a door, or before you make a left turn in your car. If you're noticing this whole imaginal realm forethought thing that I'm describing, you'll see that your mind, your subconscious, or your mind, is actually playing out what it's about to do in advance. Um, this is all like stream of mental pictures. So beginning to notice this is you'll find it very powerful. Yeah, very powerful, because this same mental stream process is exactly what's going on in the dreamscape. It's exactly what's happening in dreams. So like the strangeness, the weirdness of the imaginal realm that is actually consistently running, you just don't pay attention to it. That is the same. It's also occurring in the dreamscape. So, and to touch back on the what David had mentioned about um being able to access these states, because they depend on, like, your body falling asleep. It's normal not to be able to access them outside of certain windows. For example, like, all of Bob Monroe's out of body experiences were they happened around 3 in the morning. So he'd sleep around 10, he'd wake up at 3, and he'd read for a bit, and then he would just start to go. He would have his out of body journeys that way. So for me, I mentioned this in the last video we did too, but for the people that are new, I've only had 2 out of body experiences or lucid dreams from the start of the night in my whole life. So that means, like, it happened at 11 or midnight, right from the moment that I went to sleep, an experience occurred. It's only happened twice, versus doing wake back to bed. I've had several hundred out of body experiences doing wake back to bed. So the the difference here is just, like, it's it's massive, right? And it's because when you do uh wake back to bed, like, your brain and your um everything's primed for REM sleep, so for this vivid for this vivid experience of dreams, and your consciousness doesn't lapse into unconsciousness as quickly. So what's common using focus 12 or using focus 10 is this blip out effect. So you're conscious, you're conscious, you're conscious, you're conscious, and then boop, like you just vanish or fall asleep, and then it turns on again. So that little phase where you just didn't know what happened, that's referred to as blipping out. There's another question. I'm going to read it really quick. Diet wise, not particularly. I know that in yoga or in spiritual work in general, there's this emphasis on eating cleaner or being more vegetarian, or actually just being vegetarian. I haven't found that to be relevant in my case, but I know that it does help people. One thing I will say though is that fasting seems to increase vividness of dreams, and um, it's common to have more lucid dreams and OBEs when you're fasting. There's something that just happens when you're fasting. I don't know. Every time I fast, like it just gets weird. It might do something to the chakras or something like that. I'm not sure. I'm not clairvoyant in that way, so I can't see it. But I notice like when I fast, there's like more luck or something. More luck in life. Like good things just happen when you're fasting. At least when I fast, that's one way of that's one thing that happens to me. But it's up to you. You know, I don't. Um, I haven't found that a particular diet is important, but people do say that eating uh, less meat, or like reducing the heaviness of a meal helps with their spiritual work in general. Just a sense of the body doesn't feel as heavy. And generally, like if you've ever studied pranic healing, there's this notion about avoiding pork, because they teach, or they observe, clairvoyants have observed that there's like pork has, it's kind of like higher levels of dirty prana, and that gets lodged in the lower fields of the aura. So what one thing Master Chokuk Soi, for example, recommends is putting your feet in sea salt, and then putting like 20 or 30 drops of lavender oil, like in a bath for your feet. And if you do that regularly, it'll clean out the lower aura, and you'll be able to have more vivid dreams, meditative experiences, and out of body stuff. So if the diet is related to that, then in my opinion, it makes a lot of sense. But I don't think that, necessarily, if you go, that you need to be plant-based or vegetarian or anything like that to have these experiences. Mind you, I eat pork. I try not to eat a lot of it. I don't have it very often, but I mean, yeah, I have pork.
Ryan, they have dietas for the ceremonies, and I mean, I'm not going to comment on the chakras and the homeopathic purposes for it, because I don't know enough about the body, but I do know, psychologically speaking, that doing a dieta gets my mind ready for the renunciation that's going to come. I mean, it's, could say, raising the vibration, but that, even vision quests, you fast for 4 days. And there's something in the renunciation. When I did the Vipassana retreat, we were only eating 2 meals and not a lot. I mean, you really sort of get into this frame of mind. I mean, again, I'm just speaking psychologically.
Yeah,
and,
it helps focused for sure. When you alter your diet, and generally on meditation retreats, if it's, for example, in the Buddhist tradition, you're not having dinner, so you just
right.
have meals a day. So you're in a kind of like fasted state. You're definitely out of your ordinary diet routine. So, but yeah, you're right. Good point with it's always preparatory considered preparatory. And you could test it if you want to fast for 3 days and see how it affects your dreams. By all means, do it. Um, but every person's body and consciousness is different. So like I was vegetarian for a year in my early 20s, and I didn't find that it had a particularly profound effect on my meditative practice or anything like that. So
And two other things you said. It's interesting because sleep. I'm just thinking. I'm going to recommend this HemiSync for the plant medicine world because people and I, the first time they use it, sometimes after using it a few times, they'll go to sleep. I mean, I know I did. I went to sleep, and I'm thinking about it now in terms of what you explain with Focus 10, Focus 12. Yeah, it's like a blip out, and maybe it's again, it's all practice, right? So the more you work with the medicine, the more you work with these expanded states of consciousness, you're better able to sort of drop in again, blip out, but still maintain some lucidity. I know I've been able to do it much better since working with you, doing the HemiSync, doing the lucid dreams. My journeying is next level. So, and then you said about the just to give a little bit of evidence. There's I forget what it's called, the Heart Center, but there's research that shows that we do respond intuitively. It's like it's a couple seconds before, and they did experiments where they would show images to people, and it's the intuition comes from the heart. The heart will beat more rapidly, and they tested for this. So images that they showed to people, blissful images, the heart would respond one way prior to the image coming,
right,
versus cruel, horrific images of car crashes and stuff. The heart would react literally 3 to 4 seconds before. And so the research shows that people really, you know, they intuit things. Again, what this all means metaphysically, I'm just interested in more the what does it mean for consciousness and the psyche. But yeah, really fascinating stuff.